Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really glad to have with me my friend, partner, Chen Lin. It's really good to have him with us again. Chen has a remarkable career. He hasn't been on the show, it's been a few weeks at least, and we should probably have him on more often if we could find the space and time. And that's because he has had such a very good track record in his investment career, both for his subscribers as well as himself and his family. He publishes What is Chen Buying, What is Chen Selling, and you can sign up for it by going to chenpicks.com. So if you're a serious investor, I like serious investors to go to Michael Oliver for technical analysis, and I like serious investors to go to Chen for his top picks, and he really has some great, interesting ideas. Of course, I also like serious investors to come and subscribe to Jay Taylor's Gold, Energy, and Tech Stocks as well, but that's another story. Chen, thanks for joining me again.
Thank you, Jay. Glad to be here.
Well, I'm really glad to have you, and I really want to hear what you have to say about Chinese-American relations now that you've just been over in China with you and your family on a vacation, not just to China, but Australia, I think Tibet, and other places. You have a lot of contacts in Beijing. What is your sense about the current trade disputes between the U.S. and China? Will they get settled anytime soon? And if so, what might that mean for the markets?
Hi, Jay. Yeah, I discussed those topics extensively in my newsletter in the past year. So from my perspective, from what I saw, unfortunately, this dispute probably won't be resolved this year. That's what I see. They probably will, they just drag it into next year because there's so much distrust on both sides, right? Between Chinese and the Trump administration, and then recently they were Trump saying, Chinese called to ask to negotiate, and China immediately said, no, we never call you. So, it's getting to that kind of confrontation now. So it's pretty hard. It takes time to heal. And good news for gold investor is, I think I put that in my newsletter a while ago, that if there's a deal between China and United States, gold could drop by $100 just instantaneously. Last time there was some delay of tariff, gold dropped by $50. So I don't see we will have this kind of heart attack for the rest of this year.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you think there's nothing much going to happen there on the front for a while. You think the Chinese are keeping an eye on the American politics, perhaps, to see if who might be the Democrats' choice and whether they can beat Trump?
Right. I think they want to see who will be the Democratic candidate, and if they're, it's better to negotiate with Democrat or with the Trump or whatever can get the best deal. And, as the election gets closer, a lot of things can happen. So I think they just going to drag it and just delay everything. Happy New Year. See you 2020.
Happy New Year. Well, let's hope it's a Happy New Year. All right. Well, gold and silver. I mean, they look pretty bullish right now. To what extent do you think they're related to this Chinese issue, or there are other things going on? And well, what is your outlook for gold and silver right now? I know you just mentioned what's going on now between China and the U.S. is probably very bullish for gold and silver. But in general, what are your thoughts near term and longer term for gold and silver?
Oh, I'm very excited. Once the trade war broke out, I put in, that's what last year I put in my letter, this is the best trade is gold, right? Best trade for this trade war. Because when there's a dispute and then people got scared and then they go to bond, potentially, and then there's some investors will go to gold. And then where the trade war drag on, there's a lot of Chinese rich people, right? They're holding all these Chinese local currency, watching them depreciate, which they really don't like. And then they're wondering, what should I do? So there's some people are start thinking to put some money gold. I don't see too much movement, too much money going in yet. So when they start really getting into gold and silver, I think we'll see much more appreciation.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of silver, one of your top picks for some time is a very interesting company. It's taking forever for things to develop, but I'm talking about Cerro de Pasco. And that is a company that has it's involved in pulling together a very interesting project in Peru and joining up with a major mining company, a global mining company, or not joining up, but at least working a deal with that company. Can you talk to us a little bit about Cerro de Pasco and tell us a little bit about what is going on there, what the merger, the deal that's going on, and where that stands now, Chen?
Well, last Sunday, there's a TV report in Peru, prime time, like our 60 Minutes, and they mentioned Cerro de Pasco. They specifically mentioned Cerro de Pasco will take over everything. That means the whole historical mining district. So it's a very exciting moment. As we know, Cerro de Pasco used to be one of the greatest mining companies in the world. They were listed in the New York Stock Exchange until Peruvian government took it over, nationalized it in the 70s when there's the Vietnam Wars. The United States couldn't keep an eye on it, and they took it over, and then they drove it to the ground. So, but it was one of the greatest mines, and it was found by originally listed on New York Stock Exchange by J.P. Morgan, right? That's the early 1900s. So, and it's a very exciting project, huge resource, huge infrastructure, everything is there. And if the TV report is correct, as of last Sunday, in the Peruvian national TV, then Cerro de Pasco will take over everything. Right now, the owner of that project is Glencore, and it's a subsidiary. Glencore currently is current owner of this giant project. Mm-hmm. So basically, right now is we just wait. I would advise the investors, the shareholder, just give it a few more weeks, and then let's see the deal. Hopefully, because it's getting so close, and then it's mentioning on the national TV, so it could happen very soon.
I see. And so, Chen, as I understand it, there's a lot of above ground material that it's not like they have to go deep into the earth to mine this material, but it's already on surface. Do I have that right? Exactly.
They own the historical tailing and the stockpile. So they have that, and then the Glencore and its subsidiary owns the giant mining, the mill or the other processing plant, and then all the pit and all the other resource. But for this Cerro de Pasco right now, the tailing can be very, very rich. Right? Historically, this area you mine easily 10 grams per ton gold, a few hundred grams per ton silver, and quite a few percent of copper. Recovery is quite low at the beginning, right? And then even you assume 90% recovery, which is I don't think it's possible. It's still very rich tailing. Right. So they just need to pump the tailing up and then go through the processing plant and then get the metal out.
Yeah, and of course, long ago, the technology wasn't there for the kind of recoveries that metallurgical recoveries that most mines are getting these days. They would just leave. They'd mine the high grade stuff and leave a lot of metal behind. So, Chen, it's not just So it's not just silver here. We've got some gold, I think. We got some copper. We might have some other base metals, right?
Right. The historical, when they first started, was a gold and copper mine. So they believe the tailing, especially lower bottom, will be gold rich. It will be gold and copper rich, and transition to silver and gold, and then other base metal. So they will drill this. They saw that they have planned to drill out the historical resource. Total is 90 million tons. Itself is a mine, 90 million tons.
Oh, absolutely. Should mention that it's trades in Canada under the symbol CDPR. I believe, and you can buy it in the U.S. as I have on the over-the-counter market as well. CPPRF in the U.S. So it's a very exciting story. Okay, Chen. Well, moving on to there's a biotech. Let's go to Novo first, because you were just over in Australia. You met up with Quinton Henning. You and your family visited their project there in Western Australia. What are your thoughts about Quinton Henning's project now? The stock far below its highs, a couple of years ago, 2017, when it made these discoveries, these huge nuggets. And so the market seems to be sort of ho-hum. It seems to be trading around, give or take $2, around $2 in U.S. money these days. But what are your thoughts about this? Are they ignoring a good story, or might there not be as much as we thought there might be there at one time?
Oh, I think people just don't understand it. All right, when they first they announced, I think it was at the Denver Go Show. They do the real-time broadcast and webcast. Then people got really excited. So there's a high grade and those type of vein type or some nugget type of discovery. It's not. Right, the discovery is relatively low grade, but at the surface, easy to mine. And then you see the recent press release. You don't need water. That's very important. There is any existing technology. You can do a magnetic field or X-ray to pick all these gold nugget out. And it's very at the surface. We're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 meters thick. Mm-hmm. So potentially, I envision you can have a one machine, right? Scoop up the dirt and then go through the processing unit, pick up the gold, and then put it right back. So it's just one machine just continues running that. And that's what I believe Sumitomo is putting money in. Right now, Sumitomo is paying the bill.
Yes.
I know
it's not.
Are. Sumitomo, they put in like 20 or 30, whatever the number is in the press release for up to 40% for a few years. So they are putting it because they're very interested in designing those machines, right? You just pick it up and then processing, and then gold come out, and then dirt cover it. It's on a desert, right? Perfect place. So and then the size is enormous. If this works, we are talking about hundreds of millions of ounces of gold. Yeah. I truly believe that. So that's why I put in my report. I think it's a BRIAX 2.0, but actually, ironically, it could be a real BRIAX.
A real BRIAX.
The real BRIAX.
Yeah, I mean, this is the insights that Quentin Henning brought to this project was a massive scale, and again, it comes as a result of his genius, really, his ability to perceive how the Witwatersrand was laid down and how massive it was, and why there could be so much gold in one place on Earth. So this is just a story that I'm extremely excited about. Yet, that's for sure. Well, Chen, also another one that switching gears here a little bit. You have done extremely well with your biotech stocks, and Acasti is one I think that you really like a lot. Tell us a little bit about Acasti Pharmaceuticals, ACST in Canada. I believe it also trades under that symbol in the U.S. What can you tell us about this story now, and are you still a big believer and an investor in that one?
Yes, hi, Jay. I was, remember, we were talking about last year, I was at Beaver Creek and Denver, I think across the spring, I'm mentioning Acasti. At that time, we're trading at below $1. Even with such a terrible market, it went to $3 a couple months ago, okay? As people start to see its tremendous potential. Right now, it came down pretty hard because of general market. Right now, it's about $1.70, something still much higher, more than double of it was last year. Mm-hmm. The key catalyst for them is their data, which will read out in December. Okay, and then to make things more complicated, there's another company called Amarin. They have this great product based on fish oil. Okay.
Yes.
They're supposed to get FDA approval in September, but the market is huge. It's a $1 billion market a year. So basically, they could take away billions of dollars from the major pharma. So then FDA throw them a curveball, say, okay, well, I need some time. I don't want to make a decision in September, so let some expert to talk about. So they have an AdCon in November, and then they have a decision in December. So delay by 3 months, and then the Amarin stock just tanked. So that's part of the attribute to the Acasti, going down, the recent weakness. So for the Amarin, there's all these people. There's some conspiracy theory even mentioning because major pharma are so scared about Amarin coming into this space, take away their revenue, so they kind of force FDA to delay it. It's possible, I do not know. But I think they will open up for discussion in for export in November. So people look at the benefit, they will likely approve that. And then next will be Acasti. Acasti data will come out in December and January. My belief, okay, I've been using crude oil for decades. I have my family on crude oil. I have my friends on crude oil. I firmly believe their data will be better than Amarin. So people will look at it, supposedly Amarin successful. Right now, this stock market cap is billions of dollars, so it even maybe go higher, right? And then people will compare to Acasti. Acasti maybe maybe 5% of Amarin market cap, maybe less, maybe a few percent. Then people will ask why this is so cheap. So I believe when the data come out, people will get very excited. Acasti can go much, much higher. But right now, you have to go through all these difficulty market conditions first. So there's no way. Amarin is $5 billion market cap. Okay, Acasti is, I think, $100 million, something like that.
Very interesting. So with the fish oil has, as I understand it, not only benefits for joints, but also has some. Does it have some benefits with respect to blood pressure or cholesterol, I guess, huh?
Right. Mostly it's for reducing cholesterol. So what Amarin found there is reducing cholesterol reduce the stroke, the chance of stroke and heart and all the other things, which is very obvious, right? You could reduce cholesterol. So that because they prove it works, then all these insurance, doctor can prescribe, insurance will cover it. It's not very expensive drug. It's a few $100 maybe per month, those kind of range. Okay, not very expensive, not very extraordinary heart surgery, those type of expensive, but they can be very, very big market, and then will take away from statin, take away from other drug from major pharma. That's what my understanding. Okay, that could be the pushback. Why FDA delayed the Amarin's approval by 3 months.
Lots of money being lost by the big boys if that works.
There will be a lot of money will be lost once they got approved. Exactly, and then they have a little bit controversy for their placebo. They use mineral oil, 4 grams per day mineral oil, and then controversy said, 4 grams per day mineral oil actually increase your cholesterol or something. The argument is very weak. I don't think it's a problem. And then Acasti has no placebo problem at all because they're using cornstarch, right? So, so all these, you get all these details, but on the other, in addition, Acasti also looking for, as a secondary endpoint, is to reduce your blood sugar. So think about it. If you can both reduce cholesterol and blood sugar, you have a home run. You have something very inexpensive and very helpful to your health, right?
Yeah, and Chen, we have to go now, but what is the market cap of Acasti then about?
Acasti right now about $140 million.
$140 million.
About $5 billion.
Compared to $5 billion. Interesting.
Yeah,
fascinating.
So my point is, Amarin will do well. It could even go higher, maybe $10 billion, but Acasti will go even higher because if they have a better product, right? So we'll see in a few months.
Well, very interesting. Free markets, of course. Governments a lot of times get in the way of free markets, and that's for sure, not just in areas of pharmaceuticals, but as we're going to talk to Alistair McLeod in a couple of minutes, certainly the government gets in the way in terms of the financial markets as well, very often. So, Chen, great hearing from you again. And let me just suggest to my listeners, chenpicks.com. You got a little flavor of the detail that Chen gets involved with. The reason he's been so successful with his investments is he really does pay attention to details. And, the devil is in the details, as they say. So, Chen, thanks so much for being with us.